We present Social Studies for Standard 8 pupils based on the revised syllabus. Our topic is Map Reading and Interpretation. With me in the studio are the radio teacher and 2 Standard 8 pupils, Ali and Atieno. Please say hello to the pupils.
Hello, pupils.
Welcome to the program.
In our lesson today, we shall 1. Identify map reading symbols, and 2. Use symbols to read and interpret maps. A map is a drawing that represents part of Earth or the whole of the Earth on a piece of paper. On a map, we use various symbols.
Excuse me, teacher. What is a symbol?
That is a good question, Ali. A symbol is a sign or mark used to represent different things on a map. Different symbols are used to stand for different features or things found on a map. Let us listen to a discussion by Standard 8 pupils on map reading symbols.
We have been told to discuss symbols used on a map. Please, Secretary, take down the points as we discuss them, okay?
Yes, I will be taking the points as the discussion goes on. May I give the first point, please?
Of course.
Well, one of the symbols is the use of letters. For example, letter C can be used for coffee or cotton, and letter P used for pyrethrum.
That's true, I agree with you. Sometimes, letters C, D are also used for cattle dip.
Chairperson, I want to talk about dots. Dots are mainly used to show population or settlement.
That's true. Another point is that we have small drawings which represent real features such as the church, bridge, and trees.
What about schools, hospitals, and airports? Are they not represented on maps?
Yes, I guess they are symbols used to represent churches and airports. Do you know them?
Oh yes, there's always letter H to represent hospitals and a drawing of an aeroplane to represent an airport.
Yeah, Secretary, are you putting down these points?
Yes, all the points mentioned have been written down, Chairman.
Right, yes. What of animals like elephants? Are they drawn as symbols on the map? Why are you laughing?
Look at this guy. Let us be serious. All wild animals are shown by use of game packs.
Okay. Secretary, please give us the summary of the points you have written down.
Okay, Chairman. We have discussed that map reading symbols used on a map include letters such as C for coffee, dots, and small drawings.
Good. I want to thank you all for your contributions. We are now ready to present our points to the teacher.
From that discussion, we have learned that various symbols are used to represent certain features on a map. What are some of these symbols, Atieno?
Teacher, the pupils talked of letters such as C, which represents coffee.
That is correct, Atieno. Letters are used to represent various features like crops or even cattle dips. Which other symbols were discussed, Ali?
They also talked about dots.
That is right, Ali. Dots represent population distribution. When the dots are many, it means many people have settled there. And when the dots are few, it means people who have settled there are few.
Excuse me, teacher. They also talked about small drawings.
That is correct, Atieno. Small drawings are used to represent some features like trees for forests and aeroplane for an airport.
Teacher, from the discussion, I did not understand how hospitals are represented on the map.
Hospitals, churches, bridges, hills, quarries, and capital cities are represented by use of symbols known as conventional symbols.
Teacher, what do you mean by conventional symbols?
That is a good question, Atieno. Conventional symbols are symbols internationally recognized and accepted to represent particular features such as the church, airport, bridges, hills, hospitals, quarries, waterfalls, and capital cities.
Excuse me, teacher. How can one be able to read the symbols on a map?
That is a good question, Ali. One can read symbols on a map by using a guideline. This guideline is known as a key. The key on a map gives information about the map to the reader. The symbols used are usually arranged at the bottom or at the side of the map outside the map frame. Please, class teacher, guide pupils to study the maps in the atlas and identify the symbols used to represent 1. Relief and drainage, 2. Population distribution, 3. Climate, 4. Economic activities, and 5. Political boundaries. Thank you, teacher and pupils. I hope you are able to identify the symbols used for various features on a map. We shall now discuss the symbols used to represent relief and drainage features. Tell us about the symbols that represent relief and drainage, Ali.
I think hills and mountains could be represented by use of color triangular shapes. Different shades of color could also be used to show different landforms.
That is true, Ali. Different triangular shapes and different shades of color could be used to show lowlands and highlands. Your teacher will help you to correctly identify the colors used to show lowlands and highlands after this lesson. The colors used include shades of brown, yellow, and green. When a river crosses roads, the blue line could be used together with a symbol to show that there is a bridge. Class teacher, draw the sign which shows a bridge on the chalkboard. Thank you, teacher.
Teacher, how are population or settlement patterns shown on a map?
Population or settlement patterns are shown by use of dots. Dots used to show settlement patterns on a map can indicate the type of settlement.
Excuse me, teacher. How do dots show the pattern of settlement?
That is a good question, Atieno. Places with many dots, which are found close together, show a dense population, while places with scattered dots are said to be sparsely populated.
Teacher, are colors also used to show population distribution?
Oh yes. Color symbols could also be used to show the distribution of population. Tell us ways we can know the population of a place by use of colors, Atieno.
Different shades of color could be used to represent different types of population. The key guides us on places which are densely populated and which are sparsely populated.
That is correct, Atieno. Let us now learn about the symbols used to represent agricultural or economic activities.
Excuse me, teacher. I have seen initials on maps. Do they represent crops?
That is correct, Ali. Initials such as T could be used for tea, while C could be used to stand for coffee.
Excuse me, teacher. Economic activities such as mining are shown by use of pictures, signs, or symbols.
That is correct. The symbol for mining activity is a symbol which looks like a star with many points. Teacher, draw the symbol of mining or quarry on the chalkboard. Thank you, class teacher. Pupils, tell your teacher other symbols which represent the economic activities. you, pupils. Let us now discuss how we can interpret symbols on a map. We shall start by defining what interpretation is. What is map interpretation, Atieno?
Map interpretation is the study of information represented on a map.
That is correct, Atieno. Whenever we get a map, it is important to study the symbols and understand what each symbol represents. The symbols can help us interpret various ideas from the map. Tell us what we can interpret from using symbols on a map, Ali.
I think we can interpret the type of relief found in an area using symbols on a map.
Correct, Ali. We can also interpret the climate of a place by identifying the crops grown and observing the general vegetation. Crops such as coffee, tea, and pyrethrum grow in a cool and wet climate, whereas cotton grows in hot climate. Tell us how we can interpret the relief of a place on a map. Yes, Atieno?
We can tell the relief of a place by observing the kind of relief features on the map. For example, if there are hills, it shows that the area is hilly. We can also tell whether the area is a highland or lowland by studying the relief features like plains, mountains, and valleys.
That is right, Atieno. You can tell if a place is high or low by studying the kind of crop grown there. Crops such as tea, pyrethrum, and coffee grow in highland areas. Crops such as coconut, cotton, or sugarcane grow in lowlands.
Teacher, does this mean that we can also study the direction of a river or stream and determine the slope of the land in an area?
That is correct, Ali. Rivers generally flow from high areas to lowlands. By looking at the river, we can tell the direction of the flow.
Teacher, we can also interpret and know if a place is flat by looking at the swamps present.
That is correct, Atieno. The presence of swamps in an area could show that the area is lowland with clay soils which are poorly drained. Let us now learn how to interpret the climate of a place. Tell us how to interpret climate of a place, Ali.
I think the presence of highland areas indicate existence of a cool climate. Crops grown in an area could also indicate the temperature of an area.
Correct, Ali. Pupils, tell your teacher how you can tell the climate of a place by studying the crops grown in a place. Thank you, pupils. Crops grown in an area tell us the temperature of the area. Coffee, for example, grows in high-altitude areas which are cool. Cotton grows in high temperatures. Tell us how we can interpret the drainage of an area, Atieno.
Through studying the drainage features, we can describe many things. Permanent rivers in an area indicates that the area receives high rainfall, while seasonal rivers show the existence of low rainfall.
Correct, Atieno. Let us now identify how we can interpret the administrative boundaries. How are administrative boundaries shown on a map, Ali?
The administrative boundaries are shown by use of different types of lines shown in the key.
Correct, Ali. Different lines are used to show different administrative boundaries. The administrative boundaries could be sublocation, location, divisional, or district boundaries. Pupils, identify other ways of interpreting information from a map. In our lesson today, we have identified symbols used in map reading. Atieno, tell us what symbols are.
Symbols are signs used to represent different features found in a map. They include letters, dots, marks, or drawings of a feature.
Thank you, Atieno. What else did we learn, Ali?
we learned that some features are represented by particular symbols which are internationally recognized and accepted, which are also called conventional symbols.
That is correct, Ali. We went on to say that symbols are used to represent the following. 1. Relief and drainage features. 2. Population distribution. 3. Climate of a place. 4. Economic activities. And 5. Political or administrative boundaries. Tell us the symbols used to identify relief drainage features, Atieno.
Symbols that represent relief and drainage features include geometrical shapes, blue continuous lines, and pictures.
We learned that population distribution could be represented by dots or even shades of colors. Climate of a place could be shown by the type of crops grown in an area. Areas where tea is found show that it's a highland area.
Correct, Atieno and Ali. Economic activities practiced in an area could be represented by use of the letters or pictures of the crops or features. We also went on to learn how we can read maps using symbols. And with that, we come to the end of our radio lesson for today.
You have been listening to Social Studies for Standard 8 pupils. Our topic today was map reading and interpretation. Your presenters were
Catherine Combo,
James Mohando,